Now let's talk about my favorite organ in the human body, that is the brain. In my own opinion, the brain controls everything that you do. The brain is made out of the cerebrum, the encephalon, the cerebellum, and the brainstem. Brain is divided into four lobes. You have the frontal lobe, the parietal lobe, occipital lobe, and the temporal lobe. The occipital lobe is the visual association area, so basically it stores visual memories. The temporal lobe is the auditory association area. It associates new sounds with auditory memories. Now the prefrontal area, it is located in the frontal lobe. It's important for reasoning, planning, actions, and critical thinking. The Wernicke's area, it's in the posterior part of the left temporal lobe. It's important for understanding of both written and spoken words. And then the Broca's area, that's located in the left frontal lobe, directs the primary motor area to stimulate muscles for speaking and writing. Now the limbic system, it's important for emotions. So it integrates emotions with higher mental functions such as reasoning and memory. There's different areas of the brain that are part of the limbic system. This includes the amygdala and the hippocampus. The amygdala creates the sensation of fear, and the hippocampus plays a crucial role in learning and memory. There's a distinction between memory and learning. So memory is the ability to recall events from the past, whereas learning is the ability to retain and use past memories. There's different types of memories. So you have short-term memory, which is basically stored in the prefrontal area, long-term memory, which is memorizing facts, semantic memory, which is memorizing numbers and words, episodic memory, which is memorizing persons or events, and skill memory, performing motor activities. So skill memory will be like you learning to ride a bicycle, learning to drive. So when we're talking about language and speech, so language depends on semantic memory. So seeing and hearing words depends on sensory centers in the occipital and temporal lobes. For example, speech is linked to the Broca's area, and comprehension of speech is linked to Wernicke's area. So there are different neurotransmitters that are released within neurons. So for example, you have acetylcholine, which is essential for memory circuits, norepinephrine, which is important for dreaming, waking, and mood, dopamine, which regulates mood, helps coordinate movements, serotonin, thermoregulation, sleeping, emotions, and perception, and then you have GABA, which is an inhibitory in the central nervous system. So neuromodulators block the release or modify the neural response to a neurotransmitter. So for example, substance P is released by sensory neurons whenever you feel pain. And endorphins block the release of substance P, and that actually serves as a natural painkiller. We take advantage of the different functions of neurotransmitters in order to treat different diseases. For example, Xanax, valerian increases GABA, which are used for anxiety. And if you have reduced levels of norepinephrine and serotonin, are linked to depression, and actually Prozac increases their levels. Alzheimer's disease is caused by a progressive loss of memory, and drugs that increase acetylcholine accumulates in the limbic system to counter this. There's also other drugs that actually decrease the action of neurotransmitters, such as, for example, antipsychotic drugs are used for schizophrenia. They decrease the activity of dopamine. Caffeine interferes with the effect of inhibitory neurotransmitters in the brain. And you also have others that replace or mimic neurotransmitters or neuromodulators, such as, for example, opioids, codeine, heroin, and morphine, bind to endorphins receptors, reduce pain, and produce a feeling of well-being. So dopamine plays a central role in the brain's reward circuit. So whenever you're doing activities that are pleasurable to you, you actually have the release of dopamine. Now, if you're a drug abuser, they actually take drugs that artificially stimulate the reward circuit to the point that they neglect basic physical needs in favor of continued drug use. And essentially what they're doing here is that they're increasing the release of dopamine.